What's up, guys? I wanted to show you guys how I kind of tackle a bit more complicated backdrops when it comes to things like the subject isn't directly where they need to be. They kind of go off the backdrop. The photos that I showed you, they were super easy because our subject was directly in the middle, so all we had to do is extend outwards. But with this photo that I'm showing you guys right now, it's a little bit more difficult because we have this client right here. We have this subject right here who necessarily is kind of off the backdrop just a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys how I go through that process, as well as I'm going to show you a third way to kind of extend the backdrop. And this works for more smaller corrections and things of that nature. So first thing I'm going to show you is that third way that I was just talking about, and that is the patch tool. So if you go over here, you click the patch tool, what you'll do is you make sure that patches on normal, you have source selected instead of destination, transparent is not clicked. And then you circle what it is that you want to remove or fix, and then you just drag it, and then it'll fix it. And what it's doing is basically patching that spot that you drew with another spot so it kind of blends in together. But as you can see, it does a pretty good job. I like to use patch a lot when I'm fixing portraits and doing things like that. As you can see, it does a pretty good job. There's some parts where it'll leave a slight inconsistency, which is why you probably would never want to do it for a large scale backdrop extension like this. I don't think you would ever want to come over here and bring this down, because I mean, this is what you result with, and that's obviously not what we want. So now the first thing I'm going to do, which I should have already done, is I'm going to hit Command J so I can duplicate that layer. Once we have the layer duplicated, we can work non-destructively. I'm going to kind of dissect the image a little bit. So I'm going to target what I can. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to hit generative fill, and I'm going to see what it does for me. And obviously this initial selection isn't exactly what we want. So I'm going to look at the other selections. This one's a little bit better, but again, it's not really what we want. So now I'm going to go in and try content aware fill. Now this is where it's going to matter a bit more where the green is, because we don't want any of the information being pulled from right here where the backdrop isn't there. So I'm going to go through, same as yesterday. I'm going to make sure the subjects themselves aren't in that green area. And once I do that, I'm going to go to the plus, and I'm going to add more green so it has a bit more to work with. And then as you can see, it's starting to do a bit of a better job extending it. And that kind of leaves us right here. So this is good. I mean, I see some imperfections here and there, especially where the shadows are. So I might try and fix that a little bit. But those are all things that we can fix later on. This is a good enough general selection for us. Now I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to generate that new layer. And then I'm going to hit Command D. So that's good for now. Now we're going to keep on going. So dissect this part, dissect this part, dissect this part. Actually, I like. So then next step we're going to do is, now that we have more white to work with, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to merge these two layers. And basically what that does is Adobe will read those two layers as one. And now I'm going to go in, I'm going to get this part. I'm going to try and be a bit more generous with my selection this time. So I'm going to take a bit more, and then I'm going to again do that content aware fill. Once I have the content aware fill the way that I like it, same thing, make sure, because you see when it selects from the people, from the subjects, you get results like this, and that's not what we want. So we don't want anything behind this guy. We literally just want the white. This is plus, get rid of all that, get rid of all that, get rid of all that. And then we have a pretty meh selection outside of what we left. I mean, I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna again hit OK. And then that just leaves us right here. Now this is the really hard part. So we have to go at it like a surgeon. So we can't really just, I mean, we could try that, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go over here to the selection tool right here, hit cloud, hit select subject cloud, and then we're going to select the subject. So I'm going to hit cancel. So we're going to make sure that we merge these two layers first, go over to the selection tool, make sure we have quick selection on, then we're going to go over here, make sure cloud is selected, and then we're going to hit select subject. Once we do that, the system's going to analyze the photo and do its best to select the two people here. Now, what we wanted to do is to get everything outside of here. So since we merged the layers, it's not going to select anything that it doesn't see as a subject. So then what we're going to do from there is we're going to hit select inverse. And then what we can do is we're going to hit shift, or actually no, we're going to hit next, then we're going to hit option, and we're going to widen it a little bit, because either I'm going to use the content aware fill again, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing, or I'm going to use the generative fill. But for the content aware fill, we want to have a decent amount to read from. So that was too much. So something that I really like using, I mean, it's a little goofy in my opinion, but it's the polygonal lasso tool. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that option button, and it basically just lets you draw in whatever shape you want. And all you have to do to close it is just go back to the endpoint. And then it does this, which I think is really, really awesome. I think the main reason I don't want to use the generative fill part is because usually when the generative fill is so close to things like legs and feet, it adds a little bit extra to it, or it makes it a little weird, which is not what I want in this situation. So once this is pretty much selected how I want it to, I'm going to, once again, right click, hit content aware fill. Once I hit content aware fill, I'm going to make sure what I want to be selected is selected. So I don't want bro right here selected. And I definitely don't want this bro right here selected. And then we're just going to let it analyze it. And we can zoom in on this to see what it looks like, see if that is what we desire. From right here, it looks pretty good. Like, it looks pretty clean. This looks like exactly what we wanted. So now we're going to zoom back out. And I mean, I can see that there's some shadow and whatnot here, but we can easily fix that. Like, that's nothing crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to, again, create a layer for us. Hit Command D to deselect. And this is when you could go ahead and utilize something like the patch tool and kind of try and get that same type of vibe to it. There's a bit of a wrinkle on the backdrop, but I don't really think it's that big of an issue to where I want to deal with it. I don't like whatever is going on here. So before I merge the layer, I'm going to create a layer mask, and I'm going to hit the brush tool, make sure I'm painting with black, and kind of fix whatever this is, you know. This is not what I wanted. I wanted it to be a bit smoother. And I like that it does a pretty good job recognizing where the shadows would be, like color wise and everything like that. So I'll just do that, because our main thing was just to get this portion around him to look better. So this is the before, this is the before, this is the after. Pretty good. Now the last thing I'm going to do, or one of the last few things I'm going to do, is I am going to click on the layer mask, right click on the layer mask, apply layer mask. So now this is permanent. What we just did is permanent. Then we're going to select layer 1 copy 2 and layer 1 copy 3. And we are going to merge the layers. All right. Basically, merging the layers makes it so the file isn't as big, but you're still retaining the same level of quality, at least from what I can see. And then I'm going to, once again, hit select subject. It's going to go through. It's going to select the subject. And I'm going to go over here and hit hue and saturation. I'm going to hit Command I to inverse the layer. And I'm going to just go ahead and bring the saturation all the way down. And I don't want to bring the lightness all the way up, because then it looks like they're just floating, but I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And yeah, then the only final adjustments I would probably make is going back to the brush tool, adjusting the opacity of the brush, probably like 30%. Make sure I'm still painting with black. And I'm going to go over where this, or actually I'm going to be painting with white. I'm painting with black, I lied. We're going to go over where the shadows are and make sure that they're, you know, still shadowing, still looking like shadows. So as you can see, shadows a little less, but it's still a pretty good backdrop. Then finally, I'm going to crop. I want the boys to be in the center, so I'll adjust that a little bit. And now I'll finally use generative expand, which is just another version or way to use generative fill. It will generate, and literally that's it. That's how you go from this picture to this picture. It took a lot of steps. It was a little complicated, but you rather go through all the steps and make sure that you're getting everything to come out the way that you want it to come out, so it doesn't look choppy or unprofessional, especially when you're working with big clients like the school that I work with. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave a comment, hit me up, anything like that. And I'll see y'all next time or whenever I feel like it for real.